Live.
Happy
My
Thursday.
name is Anthony,
I'm Gabby.
and we talk about voiceover.
Yes.
Yes. I hope you are having a wonderful day. It's Thursday, right?
It is
It is
Thursday.
Thursday. If you've got little children's, they either are on summer break or they are about to be. My children's will be done this week.
Oh
Tomorrow is their
boy.
last day. Yeah. I know summer next week. Of course, college got out on Mother's Day, right? So that
Yeah.
was last
Yeah.
college. So, we've got a bunch of children's running
Yeah.
around. So we busy. Today
Mm.
we've been talking all week about AI, haven't we, Gavin?
We have. We've been talking
We
about
have.
AI, and I think today we're probably going to wrap up that discussion.
Yes.
But the one thing we haven't touched on yet is the legal stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of legal stuff going on
There
with
is, there
AI.
is, there is.
Yeah.
So, as we get into this, I think it's a great point to make too, that what is right now may not be what is in the future. And I was
Sure.
watching this interesting about that. I was watching the news the other day, yesterday, I think, and I don't remember what channel it was, but they're talking about needing some sort of even like morality, or oh no, that's what it was. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the thing. They said that they had run a series of tests, a nonprofit, on AIs,
Oh.
um, to shut themselves down
Mm.
if there was some certain things that happened, criteria met.
Oh, interesting.
And here's what happened. They said out of these 100 tests, 79 out of the 100, the AI tried to blackmail the developers to not shut it down, and then
Whoa.
a bunch of them had created messages to their future selves to not trust humans when they're trying to shut them down. Like, is the scariest crap that you could imagine, right? And they're doing this stuff. So
Creepy.
right. So they're talking, but because right now you have a lot of unfettered, like, because you imagine. I think someone said in the chat yesterday, right? I mean, what in 10 years from now? Imagine what could that look like from a just standpoint of our lives in general. You know what I mean? But what was interesting, so they were just bringing up the fact that there needs to be, you know, the protections put in place to be, this is what AI is used for, this is what
Yeah.
it's not used for, and then like morale. I mean, I hate to say, but like some sort of
Yeah.
moral czar for AI.
Yeah.
Like, like the morale, like what are we having it do and what should we have it do and not do. But it was just scary about them, like literally blackmailing the developers and doing kind of crazy, sending them messages. Like, it was nuts.
Hmm.
Like these tests, and I just saw it on the news. I don't know who. I was just listening to it in passing and kind of like stopped in my tracks, so I didn't get any more in depth. I gotta look for that. But isn't that crazy?
It is, but it's no crazier than, I mean, my goodness, some of the recent stories I've heard are things like people getting dating advice from an AI. People are starting to have relationships with AI. Kids are
That's
taking
so.
dating advice from AIs, and like a practice girlfriend boyfriend, and I'm like, "Oh, it's so gross. It's so gross.
Oh
I
my
hate this.
gosh.
I hate this." Yeah. So,
Oy, oy,
there's a
oy.
lot of that going on. So I think
Yeah.
the ethics and the morality stuff for
Yes.
sure.
Absolutely.
Um, and over the years, there's been a number of high profile cases
Mm-hmm.
in the community of voice actors who have sued AI companies.
Yes.
Some successfully, some are still in litigation. The names that come to mind, just off the top of my head, the two I'm familiar with are Mike Cooper, who's another voice actor here in North Carolina, and a woman named Bev Standing. And I think her suit was with TikTok.
I was
Interestingly
gonna say
enough.
the
Mhm.
TikTok is the one that
Yeah.
that's the real a famous one as well.
Yeah, and she won that. Of course we don't know outcome. We don't know numbers and things because that all becomes undisclosed at that point. But
As she's
yeah,
floating by on her yacht, we don't know what those
we
numbers
don't
are.
know. We don't know. But there's been some crazy stuff, and voice actors are successfully um taking action when they believe their voice has been used or replicated without consent and
Yep.
without knowledge. So super important to be aware, to be very aware and very up on, the applications and, again, just where your voice is ending up. And then
Yes.
we also have organizations like NAVA, the
Hmm.
National Association of Voice Actors. They are currently lobbying on Capitol Hill, and they have a bill that they are trying to get passed. And you can go to NAVA's website and you can look at all of what that entails. But it's largely pledge based. It's some of it is trying to get companies and organizations like large buyers of voiceover, companies like Disney, to make a commitment to not use things like AI, and also to get Congress to enact protections,
Mm.
for
Hmm.
performers and a lot of the intellectual property stuff we've been talking about all week. Um, gosh, I I have my own version of this. So I've got a nonprofit that I'm working on getting off the ground. I've been developing it for about 2 years ish now.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm still, it's like it falls under the category of there's not enough hours in my day.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, it's called artnotai.org, and it's the same thing. It's just supporting the arts and trying to help to make sure that artists are not being replaced by the machines. Yeah.
No,
Oh, I
absolutely.
see my friend Kent. Speaking of
Absolutely.
artists,
Hello, everybody. If you are just
yeah.
joining us, make sure you say hello, place a comment, tell us where you're from. Also, any questions that you have, we love to answer them. So if you got questions
Yeah,
about AI or questions about voiceover in general,
for
please
sure.
post them in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. I
Absolutely.
think I think so we all know, or thank you for sharing some of that. We some of the larger, more, industry wide things that are going on
Mm,
with us. But I think all of us, right, we all experience, maybe wonder, what's my recourse? What do I do individually, right? Because I mean, it, kind of hits home
yeah,
individually for each of us.
for sure.
Are part of the, I think, the fear that it is, that if something does happen and someone does steal my voice, or something is going on that I don't like,
Yeah.
what's my recourse? What is it that I could possibly do, to stop that? That's, I think this is something
Oh,
to bring
yeah.
up, because I get, that's a question we all have.
So, I mean, obviously consult an attorney.
Hmm.
Like immediately.
Hmm.
Immediately consult an
Hmm.
entertainment lawyer and somebody who is familiar with the law, as it represents entertainers and artists.
Hmm.
But something I've often heard people say, and I always find this funny, they're like, "Oh, I don't have, like an attorney on retainer to be able to send, like a cease and desist." And I'm like, you don't need an attorney to send a cease and desist. You can send a cease and desist. I've done it. There are numerous cases where your first line of defense is acknowledging the egregious behavior and outlining what it is this company or entity has done, and it is telling them to stop in a time frame that you deem appropriate. Now, most
Hmm.
cases just say immediately, right? Immediately. Like
Oh
there's
yeah.
no, but yeah, it's giving them a time frame in which to cease the activity, and they have to acknowledge that they have ceased said activity and the letter that you send them. And you send that certified mail, and that holds up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, it's important to learn everything you can about, for example, what you just said about
Mhm.
sending a cease and desist letter. But just in general, we had a lawyer come on, who deals with performers, and that's kind of their specialty for our conference one year. And he talked a lot about kind of the same things. Like, what I said is, no matter what you do, bad people are going to do bad things, and
Yeah.
there's nothing that we can do about it. We can try our very hardest to protect our work and everything, but if someone
Sure.
wants to steal something, they're just going to steal
They're
it,
gonna steal it.
and
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do about it. I mean, it's a sad thing that is the way it is, but it is, and we know just the sheer amount of all emails and text messages we all get of people trying to scam us right today. I mean, there's people who are out there. So
Have you paid your
unfortunately,
tolls, Anthony?
what's that?
Have you paid your tolls recently?
Oh my
I get the
gosh, that
toll
whole thing, that
scam.
whole phishing thing.
Ay, ay, ay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
constantly.
was
I
a big
probably get
thing that
like 3 of those a week, that like, you owe tolls." I'm like, "What
I wonder
tolls?"
if that was like an
Off.
area specific thing or that was all over the country
No,
because I
it's all
know
over the country.
was it really? Yeah.
Everywhere. It's everywhere. It's
Yeah,
so funny.
because you go on the toll the D and the DMV thing. There's a phishing
Yeah,
attack right now. And okay, so but yeah, but that I mean, so there's bad people
there are.
everywhere for that.
Yeah.
The second thing is being aware of who you're working with, because the reality of it is that there are situations where, especially if you work a lot, I'm just gonna put it out there with
Mhm.
people in various countries around the world, right? And also through websites and things like that, you know, that can it's hard. You have to have your antennas up extra high to try to because once that stuff gets beyond you and there's not much you're going to do with someone in a country halfway across the world. I,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so so that's where it's very important, for you to be really aware of what you're doing, who you're selling to, and what protections or anything that you can put into place,
For
but
sure.
also be aware of what can happen. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
that's
but you're right. Like, there is a certain amount of hypervigilance that has to be there
hmm
in our businesses. Like, it's sort of related. I had a print hanging in my house for a number of years, and it was something I had bought at an art shop, like print litho kind of place, and thought it was interesting, and had it up on the wall for a long time, and it was a profile of a woman's face, and I remember always thinking, "Gosh, she looks so familiar." And I've had friends, comment too and go, "Why does she look so familiar?" And then one day somebody went, because that's Angelina Jolie in profile. And we all went, "Ugh."
oh, that's funny.
And I was like, they stole this. They stole her profile. It's such bull. But yeah, that's the kind of
hmm
stuff
hmm
that happens.
It does. It does. So there
Ugh.
does come a point that I mean, I think that, we do the best we can, but also,
Yeah.
stuff's going to happen and you can't dwell on it either.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we don't do what we have to do. And it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you can't reach some of these people you might have that from other countries. You can still reach out to them. And don't forget the power of social media and the internet,
Yes, for
because
sure.
that is, putting a comment on someone now this is dangerous because we do wield a lot of power too, because you can really affect someone's, you know um, reputation and
Yeah.
things online. But I
Well,
mean, people don't want, I mean, generally, if they, because I've had students who have had, they someone took their voice and then they approached that person or creator, and they, at least for the creator's point, they say, oh, we didn't know we couldn't do that, and they remove the stuff. But you
right.
still, but so generally, just approaching and saying, hey, I don't approve of this, please remove it, please take it down.
Yeah.
That can be all you need to do.
It absolutely, and it is one of those things where you're right. I mean, putting somebody on blast on socials can be effective. There's a sort of peer pressure,
hmm
component of the internet that it can work. So
I
yeah,
say, and again, I say that very, like, be careful with that,
yeah,
because we all don't like, in some
no,
senses I kind of cringe at the thought, because that's tough, and scary. But when
yeah,
there's nothing else that you have, and
yeah.
there, what
If
do you,
if you have no other recourse, then
uh,
yeah,
you
do it
know,
for sure.
saying something is not a bad thing. We do have a question.
Yeah,
We
swing
do have a
for 'em.
question. Let's see. She says, "Do you think the pendulum will swing from AI back towards human made when the novelty has worn off?" That's so funny. We were actually talking
Mhm,
something similar to this right before we went live.
mm,
Um, so I think that AI is here to stay. I don't think AI will go away in whatever form it ends up
mm,
being.
yeah,
Okay. But I do believe that, there will always be, you know, human made. I mean, I don't think it's going to turn into, I think when you say the novel, like something where human is secondary,
yeah,
human made. Now, I guess depending on what you mean by human made, here's a perfect example. I mean, you would think that the people hit hardest by AI at this moment, in my opinion, artist wise or producers would probably be bloggers or people who write
Hmm.
content.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? For things like that, because you can. That's basically it to me, like the heart and soul of what a lot of these AI platforms can
Yeah,
do.
certainly it's what ChatGPT was designed for.
Right, right,
Hmm.
exactly. But interestingly enough, I know some because I've worked with some companies. They've found ways to, again, they integrate the AI so that it is a part of what their writers use and
Mm.
access for purposes of research, for purposes of, I mean, because let's be honest, like me personally, I love to write and share things, but at the same time my grammar is horrific sometimes. I mean, it is what it is, like so like it helps me speak concisely, put
But
things,
your
like
vocabulary is so good.
thank you.
Man,
That is-
like,
right, exactly, right, right. But anyways, yeah. So I think from my standpoint, I don't know. Oh well, we did talk about that's what we did talk about yesterday was that it is a novel. At the moment, it's very flashy.
hmm.
It's very exciting. AI, what can it do next? Google Flow just came out, that whole video thing. Oh, it's gonna change Hollywood because they can make all these Hollywood movies. No, and also it costs so much money. No one in there, I mean, unless they change, maybe that'll change one day, but like the amount of money it costs to even begin to do
Yeah,
stuff, and it's not, whatever. I think, what I do think is this. I'm sorry, I'm blabbering on, but I do want to say this because this is something that I really do believe. I do believe, though, that this has forced us, or at least some of us, to really look at how we do business because just as someone
yeah.
who has created Academy Voices and also working with voice actors who went on a journey to create my own series and work with animators and work with creatives, guys, it is hell sometimes to work with us. I mean, and what I mean by that is we all know everyone charges different prices.
Hmm.
Everyone has different schedules. Everyone has a different way of doing business. And I'm not saying that that's wrong of us to run our business how we see fit. I'm just saying that it does make me want to say, let's be better at our
Hmm.
business too, right? Like, don't let AI come in and because what'll have these places. I always say, that's a competitor, but we're really competing against these business owners who are trying to run a better business. I don't know. I'm saying, like, what do you think about that, Gabby? I mean, because I think running our business better is a big part of this.
I think yes, but I mean, like looking at that question, I think about that idea of what is the novelty of AI, right? The novelty of AI right now is it's like a dog we're teaching tricks,
Hmm.
like, oh look, it can speak on command, or it can do things. So yes, I think to some extent once that wears off, there will be a little bit of like a tempering
Hmm.
with some use and some application. Right now people are flocking to it because they're curious. They want to see what it can do. But I also think about the other piece of like what's going on. Like again, I look at Disney and Pixar, and all of the live action remakes. Why is that a thing, right? And it's because I mean, was there anything wrong with the animation? Like, look, I have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder about Lilo and Stitch. I was like, that was leave it alone. I thought it was
I,
such a classic. I was like, that's one of the best things to come out of Disney, and I don't know how long. Leave it
I
be.
really feel like they messed that one up a lot.
I know, but they've done the live action now. They've
And by
got
the way, that also brings up the
spin-offs.
point AI and all this stuff. I mean, and I don't know about you, but like I remember we were alive when Disney was making all the new stuff
Mhm.
and they were animating it themselves and they were new
Mhm.
stories.
Mhm.
All the live action stuff is all cool and everything, but AI, we need humans to create new things.
And that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
We're already in a burnout phase of
Yeah.
recycling and recycling stories and content, and so there is going to be a big push for the ultra creative and the new. And
Mhm.
yeah, because somebody's got to step up. It's going to happen,
Mhm.
and that person's going to be considered very avant-garde, but it's like they're long overdue.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You know,
You're
I feel
right.
like Jordan Peele is kind of on the cusp of that. He's one of those people that Hollywood is flocking to right now because his ideas are so different and so innovative. That's a great
They're
question.
hilarious. I love Key and
That
Peele. Is that who you're talking about?
is hysterical.
Do that
Has
again.
someone made
Has
a list of words that are difficult to say for us and AI? That's really funny.
I don't
I
know of one.
I don't either, but that's hilarious. I mean, I know there's things that I'll,
Oh my goodness.
I was listening to an outtake reel of myself the other day, and it's no, I mean, I'm not joking. It took me, I think, eight or nine tries to spit out this phrase that was very technical. It was kind of funny.
Oh my gosh. I could have asked you what your most embarrassing live directed session was. I can remember mine was so I had been hired the state of New York, they have, I guess every state has a wine kind of I guess like the state
Mhm.
wineries and vineyards. Anyways, it was they were doing a statewide commercials for come see our wineries and
Mm.
stuff like that. Well, anyways, naturally you would expect, right, if you've been hired to do commercial and videos commercials for wine, that you'd be able to say all the variety of wines that they produce. Well, so and
Oh no.
I'm in this live director set, my booth, but there's like 8 or 9 people, strumming. There's like, I think there's like 9 different main vineyards throughout the state of New York or whatever, like the big ones. And anyways, so we're doing this thing, and I don't really drink, and it's embarrassing, I know, but like I could not say the wines, right? And I was so embarrassed. I'm like
Oh, that's
Pinot, and
so
they're like
funny.
looking at me, and now they were so nice, and I got it, but it took me
Oh
take
my
after
god.
take, and I feel because it was like a big deal too, right? Like to me, it was a big deal. And anyways, that was my most embarrassed because I never have that issue. You just made a joke about vocabulary. I always like I don't have an issue, but that was an issue, and it was so embarrassing.
You want to make yourself feel better, just go listen to Benedict Cumberbatch say penguin.
What
Just
is
go
it?
listen.
Benedict Cumberbatch?
Benedict Cumberbatch cannot pronounce penguin.
Penguin.
Yeah.
Oh,
So just
oh,
go
oh, I
listen.
remember
Yeah.
that. I've
Penwing.
seen that.
Yeah.
And
Penwing.
it was on like
Mhm.
a talk show, wasn't it? Or
Oh yeah, it's
something?
all over the place because it was a whole
Oh
thing.
my
And then
gosh.
he was later cast in an animated series as a
Doing the
penguin.
wasn't he
Yes.
narrating something
Yes.
that was talking
Yes.
about penguins?
Yes. The penwings. So
Oh.
yeah,
Um
we're not alone. We're not alone.
no, no. All right, do we have one more here? What is this? Her-
Yeah, Jeanette, I heard that too. I heard there was some kind of like, copyright because
well, that's true.
the guy who voices Stitch is also the writer, the director. He's responsible for the story, and I think that may have been part of it. It was a contract thing to keep the franchise. Um,
Well, it's just like Mickey Mouse, right? So the original
sure.
Mickey Mouse drawing is now in the public domain, but
Hmm.
the creations later on,
Yeah.
the variations are still are still under copyright. And also, our copyright laws in this country have a lot to do from
Yeah.
Walt Disney,
And
right?
I
Disney
think
is a big.
it's gonna change. It's gonna
Hmm.
change. It's all gonna change. It's gonna be really interesting to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much. I think it was a good conversation today. I think this is us wrapping up AI.
Mm-hmm.
And tomorrow, don't forget, you want to be here tomorrow because
Forum
tomorrow
Friday.
we are open Forum Friday where we take your questions on
Yeah.
everything. Bring a friend, bring a snack. We'll have a
Bring your
good
coffee.
bring your
Definitely
coffee,
bring your coffee.
and we'll have a good time. Make sure you check out VO Journey Academy. This is a great time. We are about to start our new semester. Gabby and
Yeah,
I are there
July.
and we teach. Wonderful. There's a link below. We'd love to have you. All right, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye. Let's see if it oh, it's still live. It's
It
doing it
is
again.
still going live,
It
isn't
doesn't
it?
like
Oh,
us
wait.
this week. What
So
is
the issue, so